And if someone had told me 6 months ago that my wedding would end not with an I do, but with a police escort, a shattered family, and my fiancé caught red-handed with my own stepmother, I would have called them insane. But betrayal doesn't come from your enemies. It comes from the people eating at your dinner table, smiling in your face and texting you "I love you" while wrecking your life behind your back. Grab your popcorn, guys, because this isn't just a breakup story. This is a story of total, unhinged betrayal and the most satisfying, scorched earth revenge you will ever hear. My name is Hannah. I'm 27 years old, living in Austin, Texas, and up until 3 months ago, I thought I had everything figured out. I had a solid career in marketing, a loving father who worked 30 years to build a successful construction business, and a fiancé named Mark. Mark was 29, charming, handsome, and working in commercial real estate. We had been together for 4 years. Everyone loved him. My friends thought he was a golden retriever in human form, and my dad treated him like the son he never had. Then there was my stepmother, Veronica. Veronica came into the picture about 4 years ago, shortly after my biological mother passed away from cancer. She's 36, only 9 years older than me. She was drop-dead gorgeous, always dressed in designer clothes, and knew exactly how to make my dad feel like the king of the world. I always had a strange gut feeling about her, that classic gold digger vibe, but my dad was happy. After seeing him grieve for so long, I decided to keep my mouth shut and play nice. When Mark proposed to me on a trip to Napa Valley, life felt like a fairy tale. My dad offered to pay for a lavish $80,000 wedding at a high-end country club. Veronica stepped up immediately, offering to help with all the event planning, flower arrangements, and guest lists. On the surface, we were the picture-perfect suburban family. But looking back now, the red flags were bright crimson, flashing right in front of my face. It all started small, subtle things you easily brush off because you trust the people you love. Since Mark and I were busy with work, Veronica offered to meet up with Mark during the afternoons to check out wedding venues and sample catering menus. At first, I thought it was sweet. My fiancé and my stepmother were bonding. Great, right? But then Mark's behavior started changing. The late nights. Mark started coming home late from work, claiming client dinners. Strangely, whenever he came home late, Veronica was never home either. My dad would say she was out at Pilates or spa appointments. The scent. One evening, after Mark came home at 10 p.m. claiming he was stuck in traffic, I leaned in to kiss him. I caught the unmistakable scent of Tom Ford Black Orchid perfume. I don't wear perfume because of severe allergies. You know who exclusively wears Tom Ford Black Orchid? Veronica. The defensiveness. When I casually asked Mark why he smelled like high-end women's perfume, he completely snapped at me. He gaslit me, saying, "Are you seriously accusing me of something?" A female client bumped into me in the elevator. "Hannah, stop being paranoid." I let it go, but my gut was screaming at me. The real turning point happened during a Sunday family BBQ at my dad's house. Mark was standing by the grill, and Veronica walked up behind him to hand him a plate of steaks. As she did, her hand lingered on his lower back. Way too low, way too soft. Mark didn't flinch. He turned around, looked her up and down, and flashed a smirk I had never seen before. That night, I decided I wasn't going to be the naive, clueless bride. I was going to find out the truth. I started digging. One evening, Mark left his iPad on the living room couch while he went to take a shower. The iPad was synced to his iPhone. I knew his passcode, his birth year. My hands were shaking as I unlocked it. I opened his messaging apps, nothing suspicious on iMessage. But then I noticed a hidden folder labeled Work Tools. Inside was an encrypted messaging app called Signal. I opened it. There was only one contact saved under the name V. I tapped on the chat history. What I saw next made the room spin. My stomach violently turned inside out. Pages and pages of explicit text messages, explicit photos, and voice notes. The messages weren't just recent. This had been going on for over 6 months. They were meeting up at boutique hotels, in the back of Mark's truck, and even in my dad's guest house while my dad was at work. And then I saw the message that broke my heart into 1,000 pieces. It was a text from Veronica to Mark, accompanied by a suggestive photo. The text read, "Hey stepson, your father is out of town till Thursday. Are you coming over tonight, or do I have to come find you?" They were literally using my relationship and my dad's marriage as a sick, twisted game. Mark replied, "On my way, hot mom." I sat on the floor holding my mouth so I wouldn't scream. The man I was supposed to marry in 3 weeks was sleeping with my dad's wife. My father, a man who worked 70 hours a week to provide for everyone, was being betrayed by the two people he trusted most. My first impulse was to run into the bathroom, kick the door down, and ruin Mark's life right then and there. But then a calm, cold clarity washed over me. No. Confronting them quietly in private was too merciful. They were going to pay. Publicly. Completely. For the next 2 weeks, I played the part of the happy, clueless bride-to-be. I smiled at Mark when he kissed me goodnight. I hugged Veronica when she showed me the lace details for my wedding dress. Every single day was torture, but revenge is a dish best served cold, and I was cooking up a masterclass. Instead of calling them out, I quietly took action. Secured the evidence, I transferred every single text message, video, voice note, and photo from Mark's iPad to a secure cloud drive and a physical USB flash drive. Protected my dad's assets, I took the evidence to a high-powered family law attorney behind my dad's back. The lawyer confirmed that under Texas law and my dad's prenuptial agreement, proof of infidelity with a family member would completely invalidate Veronica's claims to my dad's business, house, and spousal support. The rehearsal dinner trap. The night before the wedding, my dad was hosting a grand rehearsal dinner at a luxury hotel banquet hall. Over 80 people were attending: our family, Mark's conservative, deeply religious parents, our friends, and my dad's business partners. There was a scheduled love story slideshow meant to play on the giant projector screens at the front of the ballroom, showing photos of Mark and me growing up, falling in love, and getting engaged. I volunteered to manage the media presentation. The night arrived. The banquet room was stunning, filled with golden chandeliers, expensive wine, and laughter. Mark was wearing a tailored suit, looking like the perfect gentleman, giving my dad a high five. Veronica was wearing an elegant red dress, sitting next to my dad, acting like the devoted stepmother. Halfway through the dinner, my dad stood up, tapped his glass with a spoon, and gave a speech. I want to toast to my beautiful daughter, Hannah, and my soon-to-be son-in-law, Mark. And I want to thank my wonderful wife, Veronica, for making this all possible. Everyone clapped. Tears were in people's eyes. Mark smiled at me and reached across the table to hold my hand. I pulled my hand away, stood up, and took the microphone. "Thank you, Dad," I said, my voice echoing loudly through the speakers. "I actually prepared a special surprise video for everyone tonight. I think it's important we all see the real love story before tomorrow's wedding." I clicked the remote control in my pocket. The lights dimmed. The giant screens lowered from the ceiling. The video started. But it wasn't photos of our trips to Hawaii or our college graduation. It was a full, high-definition slideshow of every single screenshot from the Signal app. Big, bold text messages zoomed in on the screen. "Hey, stepson." Photos of Veronica in hotel rooms. Voice notes playing loudly over the venue's surround sound speakers. Veronica's voice saying, "He has no idea, Mark. Your little bride is so clueless." The room went dead, terrifyingly silent. You could hear a pin drop. I watched Mark's face turn completely ghost white. Veronica dropped her glass of wine, shattering it on the marble floor. My dad stood up slowly, looking at the screens, his mouth slightly open in complete horror and shock. Mark's mother gasped, covered her face, and burst into tears. His father looked like he was about to have a heart attack. I looked directly at Mark, then turned to Veronica and spoke into the microphone. "The wedding is canceled. Veronica, pack your bags because my dad's lawyer will be serving you divorce papers in the morning. And Mark, your stuff is already sitting in trash bags on the driveway." I dropped the microphone onto the floor with a loud thud, picked up my purse, and walked out of the hall like a queen. The chaos that broke out after I left was the stuff of legends. Mark. He tried to chase me out to the parking lot, crying, pleading, and screaming that Veronica manipulated him. I didn't say a single word. I got into my car, locked the doors, and drove away. His conservative family was so disgraced by his actions that his father completely cut him off financially and kicked him out of the family firm. Veronica. My dad didn't even go back home that night. He had security change the locks on the house immediately. Thanks to the evidence I provided, the prenup held up in court. Veronica walked away from the divorce with absolutely nothing. No house, no alimony, and a ruined reputation in our entire town. My father. It was tough on my dad at first. He was heartbroken. But once the shock wore off, he thanked me for saving him from a lifetime of being taken advantage of by a predator. We actually took the money saved from the canceled wedding and went on a 3-week trip to Europe together to heal. It's been 6 months since that night. Mark has tried to text and call me from different burner numbers, begging for a second chance, claiming he made the biggest mistake of his life. I block every single number. He's currently living in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment, working an entry-level job, completely isolated from his old friend group. As for me, I'm single, thriving, and my relationship with my dad is stronger than ever. If there's one lesson I learned from all of this, it's simple. Always trust your gut. Pay attention to the red flags. And if someone burns you, don't just blow out the fire. Light up the whole room.